Phrasal verbs in English can be challenging to learn. As a matter of fact, one of the reasons why we think that something is particularly hard to learn is because we don't fully understand or grasp how that thing works. So in today's episode, I want to share with you 5 things you absolutely must know about phrasal verbs. Yes, you will learn some phrasal verbs today, but the main purpose of today's episode is for you to be on the lookout of these 5 things so that you become better prepared to tackle learning phrasal verbs on your own over there in your studies. So, are you ready? Let's get started. Hey guys, how's it going? Thiago here, and welcome to another episode of the podcast. Before I start talking about phrasal verbs with you here, I want to invite you to check out my pronunciation course. This is a course I have which teaches you the main sounds of the English language, the main connected speech patterns that native speakers use in media, in real life, and also by taking this course, you will improve your flow, your clarity, your pronunciation, and also your listening skills. The course is available right now with some really cool lessons already over there in the platform, and I am constantly updating the course with new lessons and new videos all about pronunciation and connected speech. For one single payment, you have access to the current material and all the future updates. The course doesn't expire. So check out the course. I want to invite you to do so. I think it's going to really help you. The link to the course to learn more about it is here in the description of the video, also in the pinned comment below. And if you are on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, you can find the link in the show notes of this episode. So let's talk about phrasal verbs today. There are 5 main things about phrasal verbs that you have to know, you have to be aware as a learner. The first thing is there are literal phrasal verbs and figurative phrasal verbs in terms of meaning. Let's talk a little bit about the literal phrasal verbs first. Some phrasal verbs have a literal meaning. Therefore, this makes them easier to understand. Let me give you a few examples of more literal phrasal verbs. Sit down, stand up, walk in, run out, look up, look down, pick up, put down, turn on, turn off. All these have literal meanings. Sit down, well, you sit, right? You take a seat. Stand up, you move your body upwards, let's say. You get out of the sitting position. Walk in. You walk in a place. This means to enter a place. Walking. You walk in the room. You walk in the house. You run out. This literal meaning is you literally exit the place or you leave the place by running. You run out of the place. Okay? Then we have look up, look up the sky, or look down, right? In the downward direction. Then we have pick up. Something is down on the ground, for example. You can pick up, and put down. Imagine I have my phone here with me on my hands, but in order to record this episode, I need to put down my phone and focus on you, the listener or the viewer, right now. You put down the phone. You turn on your TV or you turn off your computer. So these are examples of literal phrasal verbs. These are easier to understand, aren't they? As you can see, the meaning of these phrasal verbs can be easily understood by combining the meanings of the verb and the particle or preposition. For example, look, that's the verb. We understand the literal meaning of look. And then the particle up. Okay, look up. You see? Pretty easy. Or put down. Okay? So phrasal verbs like these are great starting points for you. If you are new to phrasal verbs, or if you want to maybe start over your phrasal verbs practice and studies, you can start with these, the easier ones, the ones that are more literal. Once you become comfortable acquiring these easier, more literal phrasal verbs, you can move on to phrasal verbs that are not so obvious anymore, that are more figurative in terms of meaning. Let me give you some examples here of phrasal verbs with figurative meanings. For example, we have run into. This means to meet someone unexpectedly. I ran into an old friend at the mall yesterday. Then we have get away with. You get away with something. This means to escape punishment or consequences for something. He thought he could get away with cheating on the test, but the teacher caught him. You do something wrong, and if you don't suffer the consequences for it, you get away with it. As a matter of fact, I think there's a series on Netflix or something like that called How to Get Away with Murder, right? If I remember correctly. But you see, how to escape the consequences of doing something wrong, doing something bad. Then we have look up to. First, we had look up, like look up the sky. That's the literal meaning. But to look up to someone means to admire someone. Many young athletes look up to professional sports stars. Then we have put up with. To put up with something means to tolerate or endure something unpleasant. For example, I can't put up with his constant complaining anymore. In other words, I can't tolerate it. Then we have come up with. To come up with something. That's to think of or create an idea or solution. We need to come up with a new marketing strategy to attract more customers. We have give up, which means to stop trying or quit. Don't give up on your dreams, even if things get tough. We also have, for example, look forward to. When you look forward to something, you eagerly anticipate it. You are excited in anticipation. For example, I'm really looking forward to my vacation next month. I'm really excited about it. I've been anticipating it with excitement. We have catch up. This means to get back on schedule or reach the same level as others. Maybe you are falling behind, you need to catch up with your peers, for example. I missed a few classes, so I need to catch up on my homework. Maybe you have some homework piled up. You have to catch up on your homework. Some of your homework is behind. We have breakdown. To stop functioning or working properly. Usually for machines or vehicles. My car broke down on the highway this morning. Then we have another common one, figure out. This means to understand or solve something. I can't figure out how to use this new software. I can't understand it. I can't fully grasp it. So these and many others have more figurative meanings when it comes to phrasal verbs. So remember, the figurative meanings of these phrasal verbs can be quite different from the literal meanings of the individual words. That's why context is crucial in understanding their intended meaning. And that's why, I'll say that again, it's always best for you to learn vocabulary in context. Many phrasal verbs can change their meanings entirely simply because they are being used in a different context. Like pick up. You can pick up your kids at school, but you can pick up the clothes on the floor. For example, you can take off your clothes before showering, or you can take off if you find a party or an event boring. So depending on the situation here, phrasal verbs might have multiple meanings. Okay? So far what we have here is that there are literal meanings and figurative meanings to phrasal verbs. Understand that. That's the first thing you must know about phrasal verbs. Some are more literal in meaning. Others are more figurative. The second thing you absolutely must know about phrasal verbs is that there are separable phrasal verbs and inseparable phrasal verbs, meaning that depending on the type of phrasal verb you're dealing with, the particle or the preposition can change places. Let me give you some examples of separable phrasal verbs first. These can be split. Turn on, for example. You can say, please turn on the lights. Or you could also say, please turn the lights on. So what I'm doing here is I am placing the preposition at the end. And the object here, the lights, is right in the middle between the verb turn and the particle on. Turn the lights on. Both are correct. You can say turn on the lights or turn the lights on. We also have pick up. I need to pick up my dry cleaning, or I need to pick my dry cleaning up. We have put away. Put away your toys, or put your toys away. We have take out. Let's take out the trash, or let's take the trash out. Finally, we have look up. You can look up the word in the dictionary, or you can look the word up in the dictionary. And there are many other phrasal verbs in English like that are separable. You can use them together, verb plus preposition, or you can split them. Okay? However, there are phrasal verbs in English that are inseparable, meaning you have to use the verb and the particle together all the time. For example, run into. I ran into an old friend yesterday. Not, I ran an old friend into yesterday. How about look after? Can you look after my cat while I'm on vacation? Not, can you look my cat after? You see, when I try to split it, it doesn't even make sense. So many times your best judgment, your intuition is enough for you to find out if a phrasal verb can be split, can be separated or not. You see, as I'm giving you these examples, it doesn't make any sense to split them up, right? So if you have been studying English for a while, and if you have been already gaining exposure to English for a while, I would say trust your intuition, your best judgment. More examples. Get along with. I get along with my coworkers very well. Not, I get along my coworkers with. Come across. I came across an interesting article online. Not, I came an interesting article online across. You see, it does not work. Finally, take care of something. Take care. Don't worry, I'll take care of everything. Not, I'll take care everything of. Okay? So you might be asking right now, okay, but how do I know if the phrasal verb is separable or inseparable? Unfortunately, there is no foolproof or surefire way to determine which phrasal verbs are separable and which aren't. It's mostly a matter of memorization. You have to memorize the ones that can and cannot be split, and also exposure to the language. All right? But I can try to give you some tips here to better figure out which ones can be split and which ones cannot. First of all, I would say you can check a dictionary. Check a good dictionary, because a good dictionary will indicate whether a phrasal verb is separable or inseparable by using abbreviations like SEP or INSEP next to the phrasal verb entry. So this is definitely one thing that you can make use of. Good dictionaries like Cambridge, Longman, Oxford. And nowadays, you can also use AI for this. Go to ChatGPT, go to Google Gemini, and you can ask the tool something like, is the phrasal verb look after separable? If so, could you give me examples? The tool will generate responses for you, okay? Another way for you to figure it out is by paying attention to the object. If the object is a pronoun, for example, him, her, it, or them, then the pronoun must go between the verb and the particle in separable phrasal verbs. For example, you always say, turn it off. It, the pronoun, must be between the verb turn, in this case, and off the particle. Turn it off. You never say turn off it. Okay? So you can say turn off the radio. You can say turn the radio off. But if you replace the radio with a pronoun like it, only in the middle, only in between. Turn it off. Never turn off it. Okay? I would also say that it's important for you to listen to native speakers and native-like speakers of English because, these are good role models for you most of the time. So the more you listen to native and native-like speakers of English, the more you will see how they use phrasal verbs, how they combine phrasal verbs, if they use the phrasal verb in full, a verb and preposition, or if they split the phrasal verbs. So that's why exposure to English, either in real life settings or through media, movies, podcasts, and series, is really important. Of course, you have to practice and make mistakes. You shouldn't be afraid to experiment with phrasal verbs. Maybe you try to split a phrasal verb here and there. Experiment. If there is a mistake, the native speaker you're talking to or your teacher will correct you. Just make sure you are open to being corrected. Okay? And I would say also you can start focusing on common phrasal verbs first. You can start by mastering the most common phrasal verbs, and then you can gradually expand your knowledge as you become more comfortable. You can start learning more obscure or not so obvious phrasal verbs. One final point about this, how to know if a phrasal verb can be split or not, is what I said earlier in the episode today. Many times you can simply trust your ears, your judgment, your intuition, especially if you have already been in touch with English for a long time. Many times you can hear if something sounds good, correct, or if something sounds off. Like, this sounds off. So probably I cannot split this. I cannot separate this phrasal verb. Okay? So far we have covered point 1, which is some phrasal verbs have literal meanings, others have figurative meanings. You can start with the literal ones first, and then move on to the figurative ones right after. And also the second point, some phrasal verbs can be split. The particle can be split, others cannot. Okay? The third thing you absolutely must know about phrasal verbs is that certain prepositions or particles often have similar meanings across different verbs. Even though there isn't any specific logic or rule about phrasal verbs, you can make a little bit of sense. There's a little bit of logic to some particles, to some prepositions. For example, the particle up. Up often implies completion or increase. For example, fill up. I have to fill up the tank of my car. In this case, to fill up the tank is to fill it completely, right? Or eat up. Maybe eat up dinner. Eat up your dinner. This means to eat everything. You complete, let's say, the whole food. You eat everything. Or speed up. To speed up is to increase the velocity, the speed. So up, we can associate up with this idea of completion or increase. Up. Just like down. Down often implies decrease or stopping. Calm down. You see? Maybe you are too excited or too angry. Calm down. Or slow down. You see? Maybe you are talking too fast. Slow down. Decrease the speed. Shut down. This would be probably stopping. The business shut down, or the business is shutting down. The business is stopping the operations. Okay? We have off. The particle off often implies separation or disconnection. You cut off something, or turn off, or take off. So Cut off is more this idea of separation. I'm trying to cut off sugar from my life. You see, I'm trying to separate sugar from my life, I need to cut off sugar. Or turn off. This is kind of turning it off, disconnecting, right? You turn off the computer. And take off, right? Take off your clothes. It's almost like you are separating yourself from the clothes. So if you pay attention to some particles, they make some sense sometimes. You can create some sort of logic behind them, okay? This is all about recognizing patterns. So the more you are able to recognize these patterns in the phrasal verbs, the more educated guesses about phrasal verbs and new phrasal verbs you can take, okay? The fourth thing you absolutely must know about phrasal verbs is that context is key. Much better for you to focus on expanding your list or knowledge of phrasal verbs via context. The meaning of a phrasal verb often depends on the context it's used in. And I would say that the English language is full of that. The English language is full of words, phrasal verbs that can be used in multiple situations. You have to pay attention to the surrounding words and the overall situation to understand the intended meaning. That's the fourth thing you have to know. Always work with phrasal verbs in context. And the fifth thing that you absolutely must know about phrasal verbs is that you need lots of practice and exposure to them. The more you encounter and use phrasal verbs, the easier it becomes to understand and remember them. Read, listen to, and speak English as much as possible, and actively try to use phrasal verbs in your own communication. This is connected to active vocabulary and passive vocabulary as well. Maybe in terms of passive vocabulary, you are already in a position where you can understand lots of phrasal verbs when you see them being used. But maybe you yourself don't use a lot of phrasal verbs when you communicate. If that's the case, if you want to start using more phrasal verbs when you speak, you have to be more deliberate about it. Maybe you can select 3 or 5 specific phrasal verbs you want to start using more often. And any chance you get, you have to actively try to use those phrasal verbs when you talk to people, when you write your emails, your letters, whatever it is that you write, So you gotta consciously and deliberately use the phrasal verbs you are trying to, let's say, migrate to your active vocabulary. Otherwise, they're going to remain in your passive vocabulary forever. Okay? So these are the 5 absolutely crucial things you have to know about phrasal verbs. Just to quickly recap here, guys. Phrasal verbs can be literal and figurative. Start with the literal ones, then move on to the figurative ones as you become more comfortable with them. 2, phrasal verbs can be separated sometimes, split, verb and particle. Sometimes that is not possible. So you have to figure out which ones allow you to do it and which ones don't allow you to do it. The third point that you have to remember is that you have to listen to lots of English. You have to consume lots of English. Consume English from native speakers, non-native speakers, but that have native-like English, good role models. And the more media, the more podcasts, the more movies you consume, the more phrasal verbs you will encounter. Okay? Also have to remember that context is key when it comes to learning and internalizing phrasal verbs. Always pay attention to context. And finally, you need lots of practice and exposure to phrasal verbs and to English as a whole. It takes time for you to build your arsenal of phrasal verbs, let's say. A couple of final words here before we move on to the next segment. Remember, there are always exceptions and irregularities, but keeping these general rules in mind will give you a solid foundation for mastering phrasal verbs. Don't be afraid to make mistakes and keep practicing. Remember, learning phrasal verbs takes time and practice. Don't get discouraged if you make mistakes along the way. The more you expose yourself to the language, the better you will become at using phrasal verbs and understanding them correctly. All right, guys, so now we have come to the moment in the episode where we highlight some of your messages. This is the Learner's Corner I'm talking about here. So first of all, I want to play an audio message that I got from Ilu. Ilu is from Tanzania, and Ilu sent us a very nice audio message. So let's listen to Ilu right now. Let's check it out.
Hey Thiago, I'm Ilu from Tanzania. I'm thrilled to get this golden chance to send my voice directly to you. And this for me, it's more than you call it learner's honor. Okay? Actually, I'd love to talk about my English journey that wasn't easy, okay? Because I studied a bit basic education in my grandma's village, like reading and writing my language. And I had a very small number of English words like go, come here, thank you, and welcome, okay? I didn't want to speak English like rich girls in my hometown whose the parents sent them to expensive school, but I couldn't. By chance, I got a job somewhere as a servant, and there I could get free Wi-Fi. I didn't want to lose that chance. So I started learning English on my own through YouTube channels. I looked for the lowest beginner level lessons, and I started with, okay? It was quite hard, to be honest, but slowly I started to feel like I get to it, okay? It's been almost 2 years I spent to get this fluency I have now, and I really admit that it wasn't easy. I speak to myself every day. I copy, I shadow, I imitate, you name it. I do everything I can to establish my English. In addition, I spend a lot of time listening to English native speakers, especially comedians. I learn phrases and idioms, and now I can understand easily my favorite Netflix series named Lost. So I'm very proud of myself, and I'm also feel like I enjoy the process.
Nice, Ilu. Very nice. Thank you so much for sending us the audio message and for sharing with us in only 90 seconds your English learning journey. You know, I can definitely relate because what I got from your story is that you really grabbed the bull by the horns, right? You made it happen for yourself with the resources you had. And that's exactly what I did, especially at the beginning of the journey. So great job for achieving this level of fluency you have today. You do have a very good level of fluency, I would say already. So I would say keep it up, keep improving your pronunciation, your speech as a whole, but you are definitely on the right track. And did you say that your favorite TV series is Lost? Like, you know, those people on the island, Lost? You know, as I recall, I remember when Lost came out, you know, in the 2000s, you know, and Lost must have been the first or one of the first TV series that at least became very popular here in Brazil. Back in those days, TV series were not so popular yet. They were not so popular. So I remember that Lost was definitely one of the first like big hit TV shows. And at that time, we didn't have Netflix. So the series would be broadcasted on TV, you know, regular TV, cable TV, you know, but it was huge at the time. I remember that. So thanks again for sharing your journey with us. And I really appreciate it. Okay. And we also have here, guys, an email from Josué. I don't know if it's Josué. I think in Portuguese, I would say Josué. In Spanish, maybe it's a Josué, you know, Gonzalez. And let me read here this email that I also got. Hey, greetings, teacher. My name is Josué or Josué. I am a Cuban immigrant residing in the US. I wanted to let you know how much your videos have helped me throughout this journey. I feel like I've improved since I started watching you. You've made me discover new words and phrases that I've incorporated to my vocabulary. Thank you so much. Thank you for making learning English possible, simpler, and stand out amongst all the overwhelming content online. No doubt I'm sticking with your channel forever. Nice, Josue. Thank you so much for your email. Thank you for the support. It makes me very happy to know that you find the content here on the channel valuable and helpful. And I just want to say I appreciate the fact that you are following my channel here and my videos. Okay? Guys, if you also want to send me an audio message or an email, you can do so in two ways. To send me an audio message, you can go to speakpipe.com/EnglishWithThiago. That's speakpipe.com/EnglishWithThiago. You can do it just like Ilu here and send me a short 90-second audio message. It could be a question. It could be your own story like Ilu just very quickly shared with us here, or any comment that you have. Or if you prefer, you can also write me an email. You can write me an email just like Josue did at hello.teacherthiago@gmail.com. That's hello.teacherthiago@gmail.com. I'm looking forward to receiving your emails, your audio messages, and featuring them here on the podcast. Guys, that's it for today's episode. I hope you found it useful. A free way for you to support my work here is by subscribing to the channel on YouTube, liking this video, leaving a comment telling me what you thought about this topic today of phrasal verbs, and share this episode, share this video with one person today. If this episode helped you, the best way for you to propagate the show more is by sharing it. So go to WhatsApp, go to your email, and share this episode with a person who might also benefit from this information. If you want to take a step further with me, there are some things you can do. You can become a channel member here on YouTube. For a very small amount of money, you get to support my work here every month. You can also become a member of my private community. There are many cool perks and benefits to becoming a member. You can learn more about it by checking out the link here in the show notes and in the description of the video. Don't forget to check out my pronunciation course, the course I mentioned at the beginning of the episode. And that's all for now, guys. I'm Thiago. I'm signing off. Thank you so much for your attention and for listening. I'll be talking to you very soon in the upcoming episode. Bye-bye.